Picture the future. Now, go beyond it. What would a world on the cusp of perfection look like? What would the people living lives without famine and war talk about? What kind of problems would they have? We are going to explore the place that humanity creates, after the dystopias and revolutions have all burned themselves out, after our great fears and worries about the future have been resolved, when the government is actually trying to help us, when we are all right with being listened to because we have nothing to hide. 4 separate stories show what the world might look like if humanity can find perfection. This is Utopia.
Would you like to look out the window?
What do you mean the window?
Like, there's only one window. And if you haven't noticed, we're outside.
Stupid.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Stop it.
You know, I won't say it any louder, and you know that.
Afraid of the ears of the world like a big baby, are you?
Mom said it was true. Do you think she was wrong?
Well, then Mom lied to us.
What did you even bother me for?
Just to bother me? You're the liar.
There is a window,
You already told me that.
but the window is different.
Different from like a door, a book, or like a food bar? What?
The window shows the outside.
All windows show the outside. They show the inside too. Do you not know what a window is?
I know what a window is. This window shows outside the ship.
Have you been talking to the old professor on Oak Street? He's almost 1,000 years old by now. Pretty soon, he's gonna be going into his happy tank.
He's 947 years old, and he has at least half a century before he can even apply to the happy tank. He's the one who taught me the truth.
The truth isn't real. Everybody knows that. He's just so old that he thinks he remembers something that he forgot.
He didn't forget, he opted out. He was an adult when the government stopped the truth. But the professor never forgot, and he always remembered.
Now he waits for the young and ignorant children to come to him, and he will teach them the knowledge that he kept, even at great pain to himself.
So that they may carry the torch of human achievement to...
Stop it, sis. If you keep praising him, you'll blaspheme against the government.
No, because I know the truth, and I know it's true. It's true because the government said so, and then the people stopped wanting to know, and the government let them forget, and now I'm telling you it's true. Help me find it.
Attention. Kindly refrain from speaking about the truth.
What?
Bye! I love you guys! Bye. Have a good day! I don't like it.
Honey, no one does. This is too big of a mess. Even the government admits that they made a mistake in releasing the truth, even though we knew it wasn't their fault. Honestly, if people would stop overreacting, life would be much more simple.
It's not that. Although, you are right, sweetie. It's people. First they want the information, and then they want to forget it. And the government lets them forget it.
And they should have just left it at that.
And they should have just left it when the government had told them the truth. None of this, oh no thank you, sorry you had to go through all the trouble of making me this nice meal. Give it to the dogs, thanks.
People can't make up their mind.
Well, not in groups this size. This corresponding community is only 17 billion. And I've heard the golden number for mass decisions is 5.7 trillion, roughly the size of the government.
Well, you do know things, according to your degree.
That's debatable. Honestly, I learned more from the sociologist union's classes.
Well, if you learn so much, why won't people listen to you more?
Oh, listen to me. Honestly, one person can only learn just how little they know. Now, people listening to the Psychoanalyst Collective.
That will be the day.
You know, I've always wondered why our corresponding community is so small. We must be on the far reaches of the Horsehead Galaxy area. Maybe our whole galaxy is orbiting a black hole or something. I mean, it's the government's choice, the population, but it's always seemed strange.
Well, for such a small group, we've made some decent decisions.
You think?
We knew that the people couldn't handle the information. Even though the whole planet was buzzing mad and yelling at each other, we still managed to pull together and decide that something had to be done. And maybe it wasn't the best course of action, but the government let it happen, and that's all right with me.
Wasn't the best course of action. Forgetting was horrible. Removing information from the brain is horrible. We are still recovering from the side effects 2 generations later. Reduced creativity, intelligence, and focus from a whole population. It's just a tragedy.
It keeps me in business.
Yes, and if you had to forget, you wouldn't be able to be the best architect you could be. You'd be dulled.
But everyone else would be dull too. You may know what actually forgetting does, but I study how it affects the world. The art and the architecture from the F generation is some of the most minimalist, focused, and pure demonstration of emotion and function. Never forget that dull does not mean bad.
The people never needed to forget.
The people never needed to know. Bad things need to happen sometimes. The government knows it.
I know it.
I know you know it. It keeps you in business, right?
It keeps us all in business. It keeps us all moving. The human race grows stagnant if it doesn't have something to adapt to. We can't be happy if we aren't sad.
And we can't have art without adversity. I'm going to work now. Agree to disagree.
We'll laugh about this later.
I'm laughing about it now.
I'm glad there's not just one person with all that responsibility.
There's a reason these decisions are made up of groups.
The government doesn't just make decisions.
The government saved our marriage. I'm off to work.
Hello, sister.
You were right.
And how was I right again?
Are you gonna make me say it?
Just say it.
Schoolgirls have boring sleepovers.
This is something everyone but you knows by now.
But they're models, I thought they'd talk about, being models.
What are they doing now?
They're all painting each other's nails while studying and talking about diets.
Really?
I'm so bored.
You must be. You're talking to your brother at a sleepover.
They don't have any food here. I managed to find a food bar at the bottom of a cupboard somewhere, but all they have is vegetables. I thought they'd have, fun food like normal people have at a party.
They're not normal people. That's why you went to the party, right? Not that I'm unthankful for a distraction from statistics, but why call me?
Because I forgot to tell you something. Remember that window that the professor used to talk about?
Stop being vague and cryptic.
I'm not being vague and cryptic.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Then tell me what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the window.
Thanks, that tells me so much.
Shut up.
Suddenly, all my questions have been answered.
Shut up.
It's a great review. I have to
Shut
rethink my
up.
whole argument. How are you even on the debate team?
But I think I found the window.
What, you mean the one that doesn't exist? The one we made up when we were kids? You found it?
Yes, I found it.
Then send me a picture of this real window.
I took pictures,
Send them to me.
but they were deleted from my phone.
No, it's not real.
Look, the day after tomorrow is Sunday. We'll just go look at it then. It's just right outside past the woods.
Can you describe this very real window?
It's like,
Well,
it's hard to describe.
well, it's generally hard to describe something that doesn't exist. I'm waiting.
It's like a chunk of the world is missing. Like, someone came up to the sky, took out a chunk of it, and built a wall around it to hide it. But the wall can't fill in the gap. It's like a wound in the world, and the stars fall out like blood.
I believe you.
Kindly refrain from speaking about the window or the truth.
Did you?
That was it.
Now I really believe you.
You better.
We'll go see it Sunday. Is this fake?
What?
The grass. Someone put yards and yards of astroturf down here. No one has this much astroturf anymore. Have you ever seen so much fake grass?
I can honestly say I have never seen so much fake grass before.
Who would even put down this much fake grass?
I don't know, Mr. Seinbeck.
Your PE teacher?
You never know.
So he just comes out here in the middle of the night.
With a huge bag of fake grass.
Just lays it out everywhere.
Now my students can run without the fear of tripping, even near a big fake wall in the middle of nowhere.
That is Mr. Seinbeck.
In a nutshell. This is it.
It changes things.
Things have already been changed. This just makes us have to face the changes.
We need to face changes. It's a good thing.
What we should have done doesn't matter anymore. This is it. This is now. This is the truth.
The truth. You can say that again. So it's true then.
Yeah, the fuel supply needs to be checked. The air supply is outdated. The gene pool needs to be periodically supplemented with new DNA so that we're adapted to new life. I mean, we're a new species now. Like, this is new responsibility for humanity.
No, well, yeah. But the history, all the horrible things that humanity has done, even the history of the ship has been Interesting.
We just have to accept history. What worries me is our power of decision.
What do you mean?
None of our decisions are valid anymore. I mean, legally we're not even citizens. We're a ship's crew and cargo.
It's change.
More change than the last generation was able to handle.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. The stars spin around us and our family and everyone on the ship. They spin us around slowly towards our very own planet that none of us will ever see.
That's depressing.
I guess.
But it's also very hopeful.
It is.
People will talk about this.
They'll all talk about it until they've decided something.
How do you know that?
I'll make them talk about this if I have to.
Yeah, I will too.
Now, what do you have for me today? Cass is doing well. Busy day tomorrow, that's always good. Let's see, and Charlie? Oh dear. Oh my. Ah, I see. Ah, all's well. Okay. Save one for me tomorrow, won't you?
Watch for suspicious characters? That's stupid.
Hi, Mom. Are you calling to give me my daily report?
Yes, I am. You probably know that it's going to rain tomorrow.
That's what's been going around. It's funny your old future machine still tells you weather. Now we know we're in a spaceship, and the weather is planned. It seems kind of silly to keep guessing at it.
Well, the machine tells me, and I tell you. Charlie's going to call today.
Finally! He keeps saying that college is too busy. I tell him the bakery's busy and I still have time for my mother.
Yes, you do, dear. And it's very kind of you to still listen to your old mom at your very difficult job. Takes a lot of concentration, baking.
We can't all be brain surgeons, Mother. I'm happy right now.
I just always felt you had more potential. Why not enter some contests now that the boys are in college? Expand the business.
You know I won't, Mom. So what's going to happen tomorrow?
The bakery will still be doing well. Busy tomorrow, as it's been busy today.
There's a holiday this week. That always brings in customers.
Oh, there is one more thing.
Mom? What is it?
Charlie is going to end up in the hospital.
What? How? How is he? I mean, how will he be? I mean, Mom, tell me.
It's going to be fine. It's just a chemical leak in the lab. Everyone has to be checked out. Everyone's going to be fine. That's all I can tell you.
We should tell some.
You know we can't. I shouldn't even be telling you this. Besides, you know, it'll all work out.
I know it will, Mom. Things work out okay in the end. Thank you for telling me. I don't think I would have been able to handle a busy day with Charlie in the hospital, and not knowing. Alright, one of the new interns just burned something. I love you.
I love you. I'll call you tomorrow.
Get the fire extinguisher already. Bye, Mom.
A baker isn't so bad, is it? Things work out okay in the end. I would never have said that at her age. There are worse things than a baker. Are you all right?
I'm afraid I'm not. It's my last day.
Of being a janitor?
Well, this.
Oh. Good luck in the next life.
Thanks.
It's your last day?
Yes.
Why are you still working? Why not take the day off? Be with family.
I never really had it.
Oh, friends perhaps?
Well, everyone has sort of drifted. Or I drifted from them. I just want to start over. I haven't done anything like this, anything new, in a long time. A very long time.
I wouldn't know. I only just started my third career.
Well, that's good. It's a good time in life. You accrued a certain amount of wisdom, and you can still look forward to the remainder of your life. And what do you do?
I own a little antique shop.
Well, I'm a janitor.
I can see.
I didn't used to be a janitor.
I suspected.
I used to run a little shop, fresh fish. I went out every day out onto the ocean. You ever been on the ocean?
Yes, a few years ago.
That's good. The ocean is incredible. I know it. It's all I know. In my boat, I used to be out feeling the wind and the currents. My little engine. Sea has teeth like nothing else. Nothing else I've ever experienced. I wanted to lose myself in the ocean. I used to let tourists pay to come out with me. Up at the crack of dawn, hauling nets. Oh, I put them to work. They paid me to do it. I guess now anyone can go out in the ocean. Steer themselves around. Like they've been out there their whole lives. But I couldn't stand it. The ocean was everything to me. terrifying, evil, beautiful, violent, transcendent. But I got tired of hearing about kids sucked out into the ocean, kids drowning. But what was worse, I could feel it. Like I wanted to lose myself in the most real thing there was. To run headlong into the greatest thing you could find, to fight with it, to contend, to be one with it. So I kept moving because I was scared. Always inland. Got a job as a manager of a restaurant chain and kept moving inland. Always inland. Finally I got this job. Landlocked in the center of the continent. I'm sorry, that was a lot to dump on a stranger. My name is Mark.
Margaret, that's all right. It's your last day. You're allowed to suspend some social niceties.
So that's my life. The whole thing. Right up to now. The last day.
It's not the last day.
It's the last day of this lifetime. These memories. It's fine. I'm done with it. What about you? I gave you my entire life story. What about yours?
Much to say, really. I could either give you an overview or get caught up in all the little details and memories. You know, I used to be a neurosurgeon in my first career. And then for my second career, I had a family. A child, just my one daughter. Finally, I just started my third career. I own a little antique shop in town. Oh, and I get my fortune every day from that little machine in the mall. And then I call my daughter and tell her what the fortune is.
Every day?
Every day.
Good to have family.
It is.
Well, Margaret, thank you for your ears. I really needed to tell my story. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Dear Mark, I know you're scared. I was scared, or so I've been told, before beginning my second lifetime. But you won't remember that you're scared, or who you could have been. You remember what you're made of, the limits you are stretched to. You remember what it means to have a new beginning, to learn everything over again, to follow old passions and find new ones. Just keep going. You, Mark, the one you are now, you can do this. Because at the end of this lifetime, when you enter the operating room, as scary as it may be, it will be fine. You're not leaving yourself behind. You're finding the pieces that you forgot.
Writing it for myself, you know, my next lifetime. Are you all right?
Yeah, no.
You know, talking helps. Where did you grow up?
What?
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Orchard, a small town north of here. My mom loved it. She is the reason why we stayed.
How many people are in your family?
Just us 5. People assume I've got a big family with just 2 siblings. I mean, the The rest of my family is pretty small, and my parents have always wanted a big family. Why are you asking?
Your siblings, what are their names?
Charlotte and Emmy.
What do they do?
They're younger. One's in a special aviation school, and the other one just got moved to an adolescent community. She's so young.
Why is she so young?
Because she's not ready, she can't deal with it, and I feel like we're being torn apart. Why am I telling you this?
Because talking helps. It's my last day in this lifetime,
Oh, good luck.
and I want to help someone.
Alright, well, my sister is still too young to be out there on her own. I mean, that is the point of an adolescence community, to live out on your own, to strike out on your own, but she's already dealing with family, friends, and her future. The future. My mother loves the future. She always used to say, no food is juicier than the one you'll eat tomorrow. I don't know where she got that. She probably made it up. She was strict, you know. She always told us to work harder, take on more responsibilities, and put a little bit more effort into things. Once, my mother decided that since we had a day off, we could build a playground in our backyard for summer. But the reason we had a day off was because it was a snow day. It was such a shock when she got sick. I mean, you just don't think that could happen to you. With modern day medicine, what is it? But there will always be that one person that slips through the cracks. You just don't think it could happen to you. She loved the future. She was the one that invented that stupid little machine that tells you the future. Nearly every entertainment center has one. We always knew that it was from her. We got test scores in advance, notes and reminders from her on it.
Did that help?
Yeah, I think.
Well, if there's anything else you want to talk about...
No, I'm fine. It really did help, you know.
The first day I met the director was the last day I peed my pants.
That's something I've never heard before.
Mr. DiMinenzo smiles constantly. He obviously laughs easy, doesn't put his guard up. I can tell he's trying to act professional, but honestly, he doesn't have a chance.
No one has gotten me to laugh like that on their first interview before.
Easy prey. I'm Charlie Solstice. I make people laugh. Viciously. Violently. I can stalk a target for days before they fall. Oh, and when they fall, I've sent people to the hospital.
I'm sorry, Miss Solstice. I'm trying to be professional here, but that's not really me. We try to have fun here, usually.
It's quite alright, Mr. DiMinenzo. And you can call me Charlie.
I have to call you Charlie, then you have to call me Cam.
Now I've calmed him down. He thinks that's all I've got. Like that was my one joke, starting out this interview on a high note.
I got a good feeling about you, Charlie.
So do I. I'll let him think that for a while. As Captain Fredrickson always said, toy with them all you want. Just always keep them calm.
What's the rest of that story?
So I've said the punchline of my story, which is pretty simple. Whenever one of the other kids tried to talk to me, I peed my pants. It's a bulletproof strategy. It's gotten me through most of the problems in my life. And so one of the other kids, the new student in fact, asked to borrow my scissors. Peeing, I believe, is the appropriate response to that question. This story is developed from truth, by the way. Yes, some kid asked to borrow my scissors, and I peed my pants. The director of Gross National Happiness came to speak to the whole school, and every kid I knew saw me and my wet pants. I was already that kid, the weird one, the third grader who wouldn't talk to anyone. When the director told us that we could be anything we wanted to be, that our goals were our own, I realized for the first time that I did have goals. The goals that I whispered to myself at the end of the day, of getting back at the people who hurt me by comparing themselves to me and talking to me. I could be more than them. In fact, I was more than them. So I began to plan, to watch and wait.
And the director shook your hand?
And the director shook my hand.
I haven't even shook the director's hand.
I believe I eventually took out that kid's eye with his own pair of scissors.
So then what happened?
Nothing. For 2 weeks. But that's my old work. Pain and fear is easy. When you hurt someone, you don't control them, the fear does. You're just the button pusher. It's what Captain Fredrickson taught me. Humor is art. You control people with jokes, make them want to be controlled. When you make someone laugh, you are better than them. There's a reason the only jokes I laugh at are my own. The director inspired me to make people laugh. That was my goal, I realized. Because when people laughed, they gave me a piece of themselves. And that laughter, that openness, that was what I wanted.
Wow, really? I'm impressed. I never thought like that when I was 8. And you never peed your pants again, even though it was a side effect of your social anxiety?
No. Well, there was... No. Well, I mean, not accidentally. Lies are interesting. I like lies. I like lying. It's smooth. Easier than chatting, explaining, talking. Talking. I had to learn that. Learn how to tell people the truth, or at least a consistent lie. Something people could use to talk to each other about me. Use to understand me.
I can see your passion, Charlie. And we know your history, of course. And I've personally seen your resume, but now I want to hear about your education in your own words.
Education? I'm saying the usual things. Things the academy taught me to say. All the little lies that fill in the years that really taught me everything I know. I did a lot more than stab out a kid's eye with scissors. Mental manipulation was my specialty. But with pain and fear, it's easy to get sloppy, and my tactics weren't refined. I was put on a teacher watch list when the clumsy kids somehow became clumsier near me, got hurt in the halls when we crossed paths, had to go to the nurse. The scissor kid got a pamphlet on how to stand up to bullies, and I decided to put him in his place. So, with a kid in the hospital, there was an intervention. I had to switch schools. The only question was who would take me. My parents were distressed, as they would be for the next several years. It was 2 days before the beginning of the new school year when we were approached by a government agent about the Academy of the Disturbed.
And you didn't even specialize in performance?
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I made people laugh, sure, but do that for the rest of my life? I didn't know about that, so I didn't specialize in anything. The program had an intense, nearly 24/7 schedule. I worked. Every one of my classmates was not only insane, but disturbed, a proven threat to themselves or others. I've been told that it was as intensive, if not more, than the old military schools. And apart from daily therapy sessions, we each had a mentor who led us through our individualized recovery plan. That was how I first met Captain Fredrickson.
Who would you say is your greatest role model?
I would love to say my mom or my dad, but honestly, it was my first comedy teacher.
Really?
Yes.
That's how I would answer that question too.
Captain Fredrickson is a recovering sociopath who had worked as a commercial fishing boat technician before finding his second career at the academy. But by night, he was a different person. He let himself become the thing he wanted to be and gain the control he deserved over others. He was a stand-up comedian. At each bar or community theater, he'd leave a fake name, do a set, and leave. He held people in the palm of his hand with one joke, made crowds of people abandon sleep for a whole night, made millionaires sign over their whole fortune to him. His greatest feat, one February, in a dive bar near the southern coast, was to encourage an entire crowd to follow him as he went deeper and deeper into the cold winter sea. He wasn't famous for comedy. He wasn't even well known around our school. Even now, I feel I've surpassed him in talent. I'll always have respect for him.
I think I understand.
At first, I merely considered comedy a distraction amid the busy schedule of the academy. Over time, I came to the conclusion that if I truly wanted to show my powers over the teachers and other students, I would have to show them the powers myself.
Do you believe that you had a natural talent for comedy?
Yes, I had a natural talent. That's the reason I was so bad at first.
What do you mean?
I didn't work at it at first. It took time, but eventually my jokes were given the response they deserved. I decided to dedicate my life to comedy. Every second of spare time I had, every book I read, every sentence I said, and video I watched became for the singular purpose of perfecting my art, gaining that perfect control over others that I know I deserve.
Were you really kicked out of a comedy club for being too funny?
I mentioned before that I sent a guy to the hospital.
Now, Charlie, you're obviously a funny guy, and you have the papers to back you up. You could own comedy media, so why do you want to be a part of the government?
Oh, Mr. DiMinenzo, you could never understand. You always think you have the upper hand because you play your life in a sandbox. You think power is helping all the other kids build castles. You have never truly wanted anything in your tiny little loving heart. Not in the way I have always wanted the things I deserve. I know who feeds me, who keeps a roof over my head, who carefully balances my life. I know who takes my variables out of the universal algorithm to decide what I'll have for lunch today, who I'll bump into on the subway, who I'll marry. Mr. DiMinenzo thinks the world can fit in his sandbox, but that's his purpose. He is a tiny gear in a machine that's bigger than his mind can understand. But I know who pulls the levers, and I know that it's my place to take. It's all about making people happy, and really making the most people happy. Media affects a single population group, and where else can you affect the entire human race? I really want to change people's lives, not just the minutes of their day.
It's a noble goal, Charlie, and that's why I'm happy to help you achieve it. Congratulations, Charlie. You are now officially a factor, agent, and citizen of the government.
Thank you for your time.
I'll get your immigration papers before you go. It'll take a while for you to fill them out. Since those two kids discovered the truth, the rules have been getting a little bit more finicky.
Not my best work. I wanted the job after all. I couldn't pulverize him, not like I do to strangers at parties. Plus, he was an easy target. Didn't take my best work to get him to the level I needed him to be at. One little slice and I had him in the palm of my hand. The sun is shining with the same intensity it always has. I only realized it's always been the same when those two kids revealed that the world we know really is a spaceship. It's caused a lot of changes, new workers and policies, a call for mechanics to fix ancient, outdated air filters. We want to find out just where we're all going. Requests have been made to the government, but they'll never tell, and everyone thinks them better for it. I feel like I made this good weather, painted the sky with my powers. Soon enough, I'll be in this universe's greatest point of power, among the greats and the giants, curving the human race to my whim. And I'll make them all laugh.
Oh, heavens. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry, you just startled me. Is there a reason you're in my spiritual center at this time in the morning?
Yeah,
Were you here all night?
maybe.
Well, if you have any questions, I'll be at my desk doing paperwork.
have any questions, we can talk about them. This is a wonderful place to have them.
I know.
I know I look young, but this is my second lifetime. I've been around for quite a while. Some have even called me wise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you have questions?
Yeah.
Look, if you're just gonna sit there and stare at the ceiling, why don't you move to this front bench? It's got pillows on it.
How does the government decide who gets punished?
Oh. Well, the government watches us, which was part of the agreement that began on the very first generational ship sent out to colonize the universe.
An agreement that we now know we uphold the tradition of.
The government tries to make us better people. The difficulties we can face better, knowing that we'll be eventually led to a solution and get slapped on the wrist if we try to stray from the best way to do things.
You didn't answer my question.
Well, if the government sees you've been making life more difficult for other people, obstructing their happiness, you'll be removed from that equation regardless of your own personal happiness. You'll be put on the path to achieving your own personal happiness, but whenever you block someone else's, their happiness comes first. Call it punishment if you want.
And why the hell haven't my parents been removed from the equation yet?
If you weren't here in my spiritual center at 5 in the morning, asking me questions about who deserves punishment, I would tell you that the government is thinking about the future happiness that comes from personal growth, and oftentimes friction with one's parents is a natural part of growing up. But I don't think that answer applies to you. I can't help until you tell me what's happening. I promise you that I won't tell anyone.
I have a promise of confidentiality of all the information that we discuss in this center.
And if my parents come to this center?
Yes, you were here. I can't outright lie to them, but we did not talk, and you didn't answer any of my questions, so I let you be, and you eventually left.
So we live on a ship now?
Yes, we were always on a ship. It was just hidden from us when we didn't want to know it.
We always wanted to believe the world was real, that what we did here would have a major impact on the worlds around us.
But now we know why we're so cut off from the rest of the world, why very few of us can travel to the government's headquarters, let alone anywhere else in the universe, and we have to deal with the futility of our own actions. We can't vote, we aren't a part of the human race, and we won't be until planetfall.
My parents don't think I'm ready for an adolescent community.
They say if I don't get straight A's.
I couldn't deal with balancing school and friends and living on my own. I can't.
Do you think you're ready?
Well, I should be going. Otherwise, I'll be behind. Getting used to living there with people who've been there for over a year.
I won't be ready at first.
That's why you go.
Well said.
Thanks. I think I'm allowed to be scared.
You are. You're supposed to be scared. Terrified even. Your parents should be dragging you out of the house, kicking and screaming. But it should feel like you're dragging them.
I've never dragged my parents anywhere in my life.
But in a way, you've never stopped dragging against them. Is that why you decided to let go of them?
I never decided to let go of my parents.
How old are you?
15.
It is the year that most people move to the adolescent community.
I've tried everything. I got them to see the room, talk to the RAs, the counselors, the transition teachers.
They say it's too far away, that I would never visit. Would you visit? It's a difficult situation, I take it. So you left? No! Then why are you here?
We got into a fight. They would send me to this special community where there would be new kids, no one would know each other, and they would all have crazy parents like mine. You practice independence in a safe, nurturing environment. You're just taking classes about responsibility. Then around 7, they would ship you back home with a list of everything you did that day.
What school do you go to?
New Century Specialty. I was in the music track, but my parents don't know that. I would be put in the music track accidentally, hopefully.
This is the New Century Specialty School Adolescent 3 application form. If you fill this out, the school becomes your legal guardian. It's similar to the shared guardian privileges of an adolescent community, but I think it would be helpful in your case.
I'm not sure if I can make this decision.
But it is your decision to make.
Thanks. I hope I really mean that.
I hope so too. Here, you look like you need these. Now, you should walk over to the school with that and give it to the man in charge of that adolescent community for that school. I know him fairly well. I'll walk over with you as soon as I get these papers organized, all right?
My parents are probably looking for me.
I don't doubt it.
I hope I'll be able to visit them.
You will.
I hope I'll be able to visit them and still go back.
Someday, if you really want to.
Has this ever happened before?
No. No one I know has had exactly this problem before. No two people in a million have the same exact problem, even if they have similar solutions. The government really provides a system which works for so many people that somewhere else, someone has had this same problem, so I can give you the right solution, as long as I can tell which problem it is you have.
I guess that helps.
Nothing in this universe is new, my dear.
Do you ever feel insignificant or not unique?
Yes, and it's a wondrous feeling. The world has been built to accommodate me and all of my friends and family. The world works like a finely tuned machine, and the universe sends humanity faster and faster toward its destination. Happiness is almost completely assured.
Almost?
99%. It's that 1% that makes it fun. Now let's go and try and improve your chance.
All right, I can live with that.